Tekashi, he didn't press charges on him.
He's pressing charges.
Tekashi's pressing charges.
Tekashi is pressing charges.
You are a piece of shit for that 6ix9ine.
Why?
This wasn't just a robbery. This was the moment the internet decided that Tekashi 6ix9ine would never escape the word chasing him for life, snitch. And when Wack 100 finally snapped, calling him exactly what many were already thinking, out loud, with no filter, no mercy, and no taking it back. Because when your mansion gets invaded, your past comes rushing back with it. And this time, it kicked the door in. Everything about this story feels cursed from the start. The timing, the flexing, the cameras, the live streams, the confidence. And then, boom, reality hits hard. Tekashi 6ix9ine had just finished what would become his last interview before turning himself in, already walking on thin ice, already stacking violations, already living like the rules didn't apply to him anymore.
I just did Tekashi's last interview before he checked himself in for the 3 months.
Again?
Yeah, there's a new one out.
Oh, so this is not from the first trip?
No.
So you double back?
On Saturday.
Get a look at that, okay.
Today is Friday, so last Saturday did the interview.
He told me he was turning himself in Tuesday.
Tuesday, exactly. So this is the last interview before he turned himself in.
That line alone tells you everything. This wasn't a man learning. This was a man repeating cycles. Again, and again, and again. Trouble wasn't following him. He was walking straight into it. By this point, Tekashi wasn't just dealing with one mistake. It was violation after violation, incident after incident, with the walls closing in. Court issues, fights, drugs, drama, chaos, and still the arrogance never left.
Yeah, I hope he learned his lesson though, bro. This is like the 3rd violation.
He's had a few. I mean, this last one was over a fight in the mall. I guess some dude had approached him and claimed he had a gun, and a fight broke out and something, but I guess they found some drugs in his house.
Originally they found some drugs in the house.
3rd violation. Let that sit. Not a misunderstanding, not bad luck, a pattern, a reputation that refuses to die. And yet, instead of laying low, instead of disappearing, instead of respecting the danger around him, Tekashi does what Tekashi always does. He shows it all. The house, the lifestyle, the backyard, the pets, the flex, the security, the illusion of untouchable wealth. What nobody knew at the time was that this house tour would turn into a roadmap.
But what was crazy was we did the house tour and we were holding on to it because we were going to put it out a little bit later. And before we got a chance to put it out, his house gets robbed.
That sentence hits like a punch, because suddenly the flex turns into a liability, the mansion becomes a target, and the internet starts asking uncomfortable questions. How does a high-profile rapper living inside a gated community get robbed, with no cars coming in and no cars leaving? The answer is chilling.
The reality of it, right, is that it was somebody that lives in the community, because there was no car that came in, no car that came out. I knew by the way these kids was moving that they were kids, right? Kids, and they caught one of them, right? They caught one of the I don't know if they caught all 3 of them, but they caught one of them, the kid's 19.
Well, it was a kid that the mother had fed before.
I guess it was kids in that community. So these are rich kids.
Yeah.
These are all multi-million-dollar homes.
Read that again. Not gang members, not street hitters, not outsiders storming the gates. Rich kids. From inside the same gated bubble, kids who felt bold enough to walk into Tekashi's world and take what they wanted. And here's where it gets worse. They didn't guess. They didn't gamble. They didn't break in blindly. They knew.
They saw 6ix9ine on stream.
Right.
So they knew they knew he wasn't there. I don't know if they knew his mother was there or not.
Streaming, broadcasting absence, broadcasting vulnerability, broadcasting your own downfall in real time. This wasn't just a robbery, this was a lesson about exposure. And the scariest part? Tekashi's mother was there, inside the house, when the masks came on, when the doors opened, when fear replaced comfort. And suddenly, the story shifts from embarrassment to danger. Because once the dust settles, once one suspect gets caught, once the whispers start spreading, the same word shows up again. Snitching. The robbers told on each other, names came out, fingers pointed, and then, the headline moment, Tekashi makes his move.
She was still at gunpoint.
Yeah.
She was still at gunpoint. There's nothing cool about that.
Wait, they point? I didn't see that.
I believe, well, okay.
I didn't see that. I didn't see.
Let me see, hold on. Maybe I'm wrong, but a bunch of dudes with masks come in to a house, gun or not. That was your mom?
If they pointed a gun, it's all bets off with the mom. But I didn't see that. When I was watching it, I was like, somebody knows somebody. Because they were like really going out of their way to make sure she wasn't touched, harmed. I don't know what they were looking for. Maybe the jury, I don't know what they...
According to multiple credible outlets, Tekashi's mother was indeed held at gunpoint.
That's it. That's the match. That's the spark. That's the moment the entire internet explodes. Because this isn't happening in a vacuum. This is Tekashi 6ix9ine, a man whose name is permanently glued to cooperation, courtrooms, and telling stories under oath. A man who can't sneeze without people screaming snitch. And this time, the loudest voice calling it out is Wack 100. No filter, no hesitation, no sugarcoating. 4 words. That's all it took. And when Wack 100 says it, it hits different. Because this isn't a troll account. This isn't a random Twitter user. This is someone from inside the culture, inside the industry, saying what a lot of people are too scared to say publicly. In Wack's mind, this wasn't about safety. This wasn't about law. This wasn't about doing the right thing. This was about code. And Tekashi once again violated it. But here's where the story turns emotionally explosive. Because yes, Tekashi pressed charges. But yes, his mother was there. And yes, she was reportedly held at gunpoint. That's the part that fractures the narrative. Because now the audience is split. One side says, protect your family at all costs. The other side says, you can't scream street for years and then run to the law when it hits home. And Tekashi, he's trapped right in the middle of his own image. Wack doesn't deny the danger. He doesn't deny the fear. He doesn't deny that the situation was serious. But in his eyes, the move still confirms what the streets have been saying for years. Tekashi can't escape who he is. And the real embarrassment? These weren't hardened criminals. These weren't legendary threats. These were kids. Kids who felt comfortable enough to walk into his world and walk out. And once you let that sink in, the humiliation multiplies. Because what does it say when even the people around you don't fear the consequences anymore? What does it say when your reputation no longer protects you, but exposes you? And what does it say when someone like Wack 100 doesn't just criticize you, but openly labels you? By the time this moment hits, the damage is done. The comments explode. The memes write themselves. The word snitch trends again. And Tekashi's past refuses to stay buried, because no matter how many chains you buy, no matter how high the gate is, no matter how many cameras you turn on, the past always finds the door. And once the word charges left his mouth, there was no walking it back. Because in this culture, intent doesn't matter, perception does. And perception has never been kind to Tekashi 6ix9ine. From that moment on, this wasn't just about a home robbery anymore. This became a referendum on everything Tekashi has ever claimed to stand for, and everything people believe he actually is. Wack 100 didn't just react, he dissected the situation with the cold disappointment of someone who expected better but wasn't surprised. Because in his eyes, the problem wasn't that Tekashi wanted justice. The problem was that Tekashi keeps choosing the same path while pretending the labels don't apply. That's why Wack didn't hesitate to say what he said. Not because he wanted to be shocking, but because to him, this moment confirmed a pattern. And then he goes even further. He starts talking about what could have been done instead. What a different response might have looked like. Not glorifying violence, not praising chaos, but handling it without the paperwork, without the headlines, without reopening old wounds that never healed. Because in Wack's world, there's a difference between protecting your mother and reinforcing a reputation that already destroyed your credibility. And that's where the conversation gets uncomfortable. Because even Wack admits something important. Tekashi's mother didn't deserve any of this. She didn't ask for masks in her home. She didn't ask to be terrified in a place that was supposed to be safe. She didn't sign up for her son's reputation. That's why he says he understands her pressing charges. But Tekashi, that's where the disappointment turns sharp. That line tells you everything about how this is being judged. It's not legal analysis, it's image analysis, optics, legacy, reputation. Because Tekashi's entire brand was built on being untouchable, loud, fearless, reckless. A man who mocked consequences until consequences showed up at his front door. And when they did, he reached for the same system he once bragged about surviving. That contradiction is what fuels the fire. Online, the reaction is immediate. The comments split into camps. Some defend him, saying any man would protect his mother. Others are ruthless, saying he never protected anyone before, he only protected himself. Memes start spreading. Clips loop. The phrase snitches again isn't even debated, it's declared. And suddenly, Tekashi's past cooperation isn't history anymore, it's context. Every old courtroom clip resurfaces. Every old headline gets reposted. Every old interview where he laughed about the streets gets replayed with new meaning. Because now people are asking, if this is how you move when danger shows up, were you ever who you said you were? And the robbery itself? That becomes secondary. Because the humiliation doesn't come from losing items, it comes from losing fear. Fear is currency in the image Tekashi sold. And when rich kids from inside a gated community feel comfortable enough to rob you, that currency crashes. That's why this moment hits harder than any diss track ever could. This wasn't a rival rapper calling him out. This wasn't an internet troll. This wasn't a blogger fishing for clicks. This was Wack 100, someone who knows how these decisions echo. And he says it plainly, people expected this. That's the worst part. Not shock, not disbelief, expectation. Because when your name becomes synonymous with telling, paperwork, and cooperation, the benefit of the doubt disappears. Even when your house is invaded, even when your family is threatened, even when fear is real. And Tekashi is learning too late that reputation doesn't care about context. The irony? If this had been anyone else, the narrative would be simple. Victim, crime, justice. But Tekashi isn't anyone else. He built a persona that thrived on mocking rules. He leaned into chaos. He laughed at consequences. He dared the world to test him. And the world did. The robbery was the test. The charges were the answer. And Wack's reaction was the verdict. Because once Wack says what he says, it doesn't stay in that room. It spreads. It hardens. It becomes the quote everyone remembers. Piece of shit. Not whispered, not hinted, said out loud. And from that point forward, this moment joins the long list of incidents that define Tekashi's legacy. Not his music, not his numbers, not his chains, but his choices. Choices that keep putting him in the same conversation. Choices that keep resurrecting the same label. Choices that keep proving that some reputations don't fade, they follow. And now, even after a robbery, even after a terrifying situation involving his mother, even after real danger, Tekashi still can't escape the shadow he created. Because when the cameras turn off, when the gates close, and when the internet decides, the story is already written. This wasn't just a home invasion. This was confirmation.